Hello, my beautiful friends. It's so good to have you back here in my studio. Today's project is going to be one of my most favorite, painting with markers, painting some tulips. I love tulips in the real life. I love painting them. Even recently, my best friend came with a huge bunch of tulips and I was like, no, you didn't have to. And she goes, it's your favorite. And it is truly. I love them. I'm using Karin markers in a way that possibly some of you never used them before. I'm putting pigment directly on the wet surface. Don't worry about your markers. They're gonna be just perfectly fine because they just won't clog. They won't stop working. They're just perfect for this. I've tried this technique many times and it's nothing happening to your marker. So don't worry. The nib stays the same. The pigment goes through the same because the marker, the Brushmarker Pro, they made the way that actually the pigment flows like it's like a pure pigment inside them, pure watercolor pigment inside them, so it is so much easier to get the pigment out through that bristle, through that top part of your marker, and there's nothing happening to it. So be assured of that. You can experiment with water, touching it directly into the wet water like now I'm doing. Look directly on it and it's fine, nothing happens. I love mixing the colors this way. It's such a freeing way because you never know what effects you're gonna get, honestly. And as you can tell, I'm mixing, touching the actual marker and the brush as well. I like to be able to control a little bit of my pigment with the brush and seeing what I can do, how can I fix it. But the most important part of that is to really trying and get those pigment working and mix them beautifully to see the actual result, what we're gonna have. And look at it, beautiful ombre effect. I love that, honestly. I added a little bit of more water so the whole pigmentation stays even more watery and moving easier. Now the time for some stem. Of course, it's so easy to work with those Karin markers. You have to say it, like it is so easy. You just make a stroke. You don't even have to have any knowledge. The markers will just work so beautifully. What I love about it is that the pigment goes through so much that it's really product that will last you forever. Because if you will just keep pressing, like I'm using my markers since last year, I don't think not even half is gone. No way. Well, not even 1/3 is gone. It is just such a long-lasting product and I love that. I love as well, as you could tell, mixing the green into the red directly to create this movement of the darker where the stem meets the actual flower. And also you can see that sometimes you can sort of the color will transmit into your marker, and that's okay because it's kind of, it will wash off at some point. You can see that there's a touch of red with the actual green because I touched the pigment, and that's okay because your bristles, your top part of the marker will wash off with no problems. And now it's just time to do even more of playing around with pigment, create a little bit of shading effect, of a light effect. So I'm taking out a little bit of that and I'm using just regular brush, some wet clean brush to take out the pigment. Now one of my most favorite part, and I keep on doing it, adding some doodles with the pen. This pen also works on wet surface. Now it is not designed for it, but it does work wonders. I love it. It's the Pilot one. Check the link for the exact pen that works this great. Now I have broken and clogged 2 of my pens out of probably 7 I've used. Probably I was just unlucky. So don't quote me on that they work perfectly. It may happen that they stop working because they're not designed to be used the way as I'm using it, but I just can't stop myself. I love using it like that, especially on the wet surface, because the actual lines dissolve so beautifully, and I just love the delicate lines as well. It is just so pretty. I love outlining my projects. It's not everyone's cup of tea, and that's okay, but I think we all find the comfort zone elsewhere, and my comfort zone is outlining, making this more rough, not so ideal watercolor painting. I just love the kind of freeing way of creating, where the mistake is okay, where it's not so perfect, when it's a little bit of magical, maybe not so much realistic. I just love it. I hope you liked it and enjoyed it, and please do try and make some tulips with me. Tulips are one of the easiest, trust me, you just have to try it for yourself. For the links for the Karin markers, for the website, check my description box below the video, and also be sure to check the new markers. They have like a real brush marker out there. You have to check them out. For now, thank you so much. As always, a pleasure to be in your homes. Bye for now.